Michael Venom Page here with another fight breakdown of the big show that's coming up in the UK right here. O2 headline, Leon Edwards against Sean Brady. So I'm going to go through the main card, but I also want to bring a little bit more details because it's unfortunately, this is not a card that I'm on, even though it's in the UK, and eventually I'm sure I will get to fight in the UK. I know everyone's been calling for it and it will happen, but this is still a great card, an exceptional card. The UK talent has grown massively and you literally see it from this card. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. The first fight on the main card, Nathaniel Woods, Morgan Cherreri. I can't say his name properly. I'm gonna call him Charizard. Morgan Charizard. Anyway, weird enough, it's a very, very even fight, statistically speaking. They both have very similar records. I believe it's 20-10, 20-10-1. So I think Charizard's got one draw. And Nathaniel Wood, a guy that I've seen from probably the beginning of his career, also with a record very similar, 20-6. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna start with a man like Charizard, yeah? And the reason I'm gonna start with him, if you just, again, statistically wise, I'm not talking about how, the fights and details of their fights, but just their stats wise. This is Morgan. Of those 20 wins, he's had 12 knockouts. Of those 20 wins, he's had 3 submissions. Of those 20 wins, he's had 5 decision fights. Let me go over across to Nathaniel Wood. Of his 20 fights, he's had 8 TKOs, yeah? Of his 20 fights, he's had 5 submissions. And of his 20 fights, he's had 7 decision wins. It's a very, very even fight, statistically speaking. Obviously, I know more about Nathaniel Wood, and he's a grinder. No matter where the fight seems to take him, he stays in that fight. It's a hard person to finish from what I see. And both of them are coming off wins. Morgan's won via KO in his last fight, Nathaniel by decision. But seriously, I think this is a great start to the card. This is something that's just gonna have everyone standing on their feet because I think both of them are gonna be coming for it, or I know at least Nathaniel's gonna be coming for it. Morgan's definitely a bit more heavy-handed in terms of statistically speaking, but like I said, Nathaniel's not the one that you're gonna be finishing very easy at all. You're gonna have to throw everything and the kitchen sink at him in order to do that. So what a great first fight, and I'm looking forward to this one. Biasly speaking, I'm putting my bet on my boy, Nathaniel Wood. And I think it's more because I just want him to win. And like I said, it's an even fight, stats-wise, but I'm going Nathaniel. Next fight on the main card, we have lightweight bout, Jordan Vesenik versus Chris Duncan. Again, another very evenly matched fight. Whoever's been putting these fights together has been on point. Chris Duncan, again, I've heard his name a lot more in the scene. This is just me personally. Chris Duncan is just known for being that tough guy. He, I believe, is like 12-2 record. So again, very close because Jordan is 13-3. Very close. I believe Jordan has the more submissions. Duncan has the more TKOs. I don't believe it is as straightforward as, oh yeah, Jordan's gonna go for takedowns and grappling and Chris Duncan's just gonna go for the knockouts, because again, they're both very evenly matched. There are Duncan has some submissions as well. And I think Jordan has a couple of TKOs. So again, just a very evenly matched fight. If I was to go with anybody, I'd probably lean towards Chris Duncan. Again, it's more because my knowledge of Chris Duncan is way more. But again, in terms of stats, it seems like a very even fight. But I'm gonna go with the person that could potentially finish, statistically speaking, potentially finish better than the other guy. Okay, the next fight, women's strawweight division, we have Molly Meatball McCann. I don't even know why they call her Meatball anymore, bro. She's lost so much weight. I need to think of a new name. Molly Mannequin McCann? Nah, too close. We'll work on it, and Alexa, Theara is a joke. I was just playing. Anyway.
Actually, Alexia.
Yeah, I fucked up. Alexia Theara. I don't even have to say her second name. Theara. Yeah. I call her Thanos, fam. And she's going up against Alexia Theara. This one is a very difficult one. I'm already gonna say, I'm gonna keep bigging her up every single time. The first time I met Molly, it said a lot about her. And for me, I'm always forever gonna be a fan of hers as a person, because she was just the sweetest. I'm always gonna show respect. I'm always gonna want her to win. This is a tough one. I believe this was a last minute swap. She was supposed to be fighting somebody else, and Alexia has now stepped in. But Alexia is difficult because of the last 4 fights that Molly has been in, she's only won 1 of those 4 fights. Yeah, she's definitely been working on her submission game, but I believe outside of the last one, she lost by a decision, but the 2 that she lost before that were via submission. Now, my worry is Alexia has a very good submission game, but I believe she's got about 6 submissions. I'm exactly right. So she's got about 6 submissions to her name. She's 11-1. She's only lost 1 fight, and I think she's been on like a 4-5 fight win streak. It's a tough fight for her to go against. Again, stats wise, I'm going with, stats and, what's happening so far, momentum, so on and so forth. I'm gonna go with Alexia. I'm gonna go with my heart on this one, and it has to be, the lovely, sweet meatball Molly. And again, it's more because I just want her to succeed. The next fight on the card is a welterweight bout. Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. It's a great fight. I don't know how Kevin does it, bro. This guy is so active. And I think that's why, regardless of his results, people are gonna love him. But talking about results, obviously he's had loads and loads of fights. He's a veteran in the game. His last couple of fights he's lost. Saying that though, Gunnar hasn't fought in like 2 years. Early 2023. But again, he won both of his last 2 fights. Stylistically speaking, I feel like Kevin comes undone when he gets taken to the floor. Because he can be a bit reckless from the floor, which, can be dangerous. We've seen him knock people out from the floor. Because he can be reckless, when you have somebody that is so crisp in their jiu-jitsu, you stick your neck out wrong or you put an arm out in the wrong way and you'll get up recklessly, you get your back taken, whatever. I just feel like a submission can come from it. Saying that though, he's been out for 2 years. I don't know as to why he's been out for so long. Could be due to an injury. What Gunnar Nelson are we going to see coming back? Is he going to be a bit shell-shocked when somebody that is, regardless of his results, has been very consistent, is accustomed to being in that cage a lot. In his time off, he's been going crazy. Regardless of his results, he is a person that you can't underestimate at all. Even when I was fighting him, it's somebody that I took seriously from start to finish. In my head, I'm always confident in myself, and I say to myself, I'm gonna beat this person, but I'm like, I gotta be on point. Like, you can't mess about. And he's hard to kill, It's happened recently because I think he goes up and down, so I think it was in the middleweight last time, but he's such a hard person to kill. The only way people have been getting him is the submission route. So, it's a difficult one. Stats tell me Gunnar Nelson, statistics styles tell me Gunnar Nelson. Just competition ready tells me Kevin Holland, but I'm gonna go with the stats on this one. I'm gonna go with the style on this one. I'm gonna go with the fact that, like I said, Kevin's weaknesses seem to be Gunnar Nelson's strength. So I'm gonna sway it to Gunnar Nelson. But again, just a fight that I just wanna be there for, because Kevin's gonna be talking his shit. He's gonna be just exciting and entertaining. So make sure you go watch that one. Okay, for the co-main event, we have Jan and Carlos Oberg. Now, Jan being very inconsistent, and it's weird because his record displays his inconsistencies. Equal amount of like TKO wins to submission wins. I think it's like 9-9. He's got an equal amount of losses, like TKO losses to submission losses, like 2-2 or something like that. But obviously Jan is the more experienced one out of the 2. But for Carlos, this is a good one to kind of come in on and a good scalp to take. Because again, at the last 4 fights, Jan has lost 2 of them and drawn 1. Obviously, we saw the Pereira one, which was his last fight. This is the perfect time to capture somebody like that. You know what I mean? When they, it's very inconsistent at the moment, but at the same time, you can't take away his experience. Whereas Carlos now is like 11-1. He's more stand-up. I think he's only got 1 submission. So he's more going to be a striker, heavy-handed. I think he's a slower pace fighter. But again, so is Jan. So it could just be whoever touches that chin. You know what I mean? But again, stats-wise, it's favoring Carlos right now. He's a younger up-and-coming fighter. So I think it's favoring him at the moment. and he's going to have everything to prove. But again, Jan is the experienced fighter. So style-wise, I don't think style-wise is pretty relatively even. I think Jan, you know, is a bit more dangerous everywhere else, but striking is going to be relatively even. But I'm going to give it to the younger guy just because of, again, the inconsistencies of, you know, over these last 3 or 4 fights. So I'm going to give it to Carlos on this one. But again, another good fight to watch, and it's a co-main event that's going to set you up for the main event. And that brings us to the main event of the evening. Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. Again, welterweight division, another fight that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. You know, I've always been vocal about wanting to, you know, fight Leon in the UK at some point in the future. I'm sure that will line up at some point. His last fight, obviously, a lot of people would have seen that one against Bilal. I think, obviously, a great performance from Bilal, but I also believe that the time difference, being in your hometown and having to fight at 5, 6 in the morning is unacceptable for anybody. And I can also say that, for me anyway, I could see that would be one of the reasons as to why he didn't perform that night. In all honesty, I believe he deserved an immediate rematch on normal time. That didn't happen, and again, he hasn't even got. I get why Bilal's done it. You know, he said he was made to wait, and now he's going to make Leon wait. So Leon's having to kind of work his way back up. Fine. Sean Brady, on the other hand, has been going through a bit of a tearing spree. Kind of, I'd say he's the dark horse in the division, in the sense that not many people talk about him. Like, obviously, people know him, but not many people talk about him. What his record, 11-1. I want to double check. No, sorry, 17-1. Yeah, which is an exceptional record. The thing is, stylistically, I think it's one of the reasons why people maybe not talk about him as much. Is stylistically, he's that typical kind of wrestler where he's going to want to take you down. Majority of his wins are decision wins, and it's kind of take you down, hold you down, maybe a little ground and pound here and there, but pretty much win rounds by just doing that, which is not the most entertaining, which is probably why you don't hear like a buzz around his name, because, you know, it's difficult to be excited by that kind of style. But regardless of, he has been winning. He has managed to figure that out against everybody that he's been coming up against with so far, bar one person. And that one person, it was a TKO. So again, it seems like the only way you can stop this guy is by finishing him. The difficult thing is with Leon, I think a lot of people underestimate his, I'm gonna call it counter wrestling. People struggle to take him down. They really do. They're gonna struggle to take him down. And if they take him down, they're gonna struggle to keep him down. Even against Bilal, there were some crazy dumps. You know, there's a video of a clip that goes around, has done its rounds, of him getting dumped clean on his head. Every time they show that fight, that's the clip they want to show. If you watch the whole fight, regardless of things like that, he kept getting back up. In fact, at the end of the fight, this is why I say he deserved another rematch. At the end of that fight, he managed to turn it around, take Bilal's back, and say he was able to take Usman down, who again is known for being the aggressor. People underestimate Leon's wrestling ability, which leads me to believe in this fight, Sean Brady will struggle. I think he may get a couple of takedowns here and there, but keeping him down is going to be the harder thing. And then for a wrestler to have to keep doing that work over and over again, it's difficult. Taking somebody down once around, if you're a wrestler, it's fine. And then, you know, position yourself well to keep them down, fine, makes sense. But if they're getting up multiple times in a round, you might have to do it 3 or 4 times. Now your lactic is really kicking in. You can't strike as well. And remember, the person in front of you is equally as dangerous, if not more dangerous, striking. Like we've seen Leon, finish the likes of Usman and other people. Again, Leon is still more of a decision fighter, but the strikes are there. He will be beating you up in that time. It's not just, you know, clinch work and holding you down. It's the full 360 of MMA. He's good at the wrestling. He's got submissions, and striking is obviously his go-to. So for me, because of all of that, I'm gonna lean towards Leon. Statistically speaking, it leans towards Sean, just because of the run that he's been on. And obviously, again, Leon coming off a loss. It's very difficult to, once you've lost the belt as well, and I think you notice that seems to be a bit of a weird pattern. Once you've achieved the belt and then you've lost the belt, trying to get back and build that momentum back to getting a belt again is very, very difficult. But I still think, you know, he stayed in it long enough, or it would turn it around quick enough to still be of the mindset of, you know, no, the belt's mine. He didn't really have the belt long enough to claim the belt, if you know what I mean. So I feel like he's still got that mindset of coming back. So I believe he can win that fight. Statistically, it leans towards Sean. But like I said, my pick is going to be my fellow UK guy, Leon Edwards. So again, that's going to be the fight, guys. As per usual, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell for up and coming videos, and I'll see you on the next video, guys.